Hi, I'm Rika. I started playing Season of Discovery over the holidays, and I wanted to write this guide because I missed out on a lot of stuff while leveling as a new player. Timestamps down in the description for a comprehensive list of what's covered in the video, and if you have anything I missed, please comment down below. Alright, let's start this off by quickly going over all the new ways classes can be played in Season of Discovery. Rogue, Warlock, and Shaman now have a tank spec. Hunters have a melee spec. Mages have a healing spec. Boomkin and Red Paladin are now both viable specs. And Shadow Priests can summon little homunculus copies of themselves. I just think they're neat. One of the features of Season of Discovery making all this possible is, of course, the new runes added to the game. You equip them to your armor, and you can always switch between them when you're out of combat. They were slowly released through each phase, unlocked by finding and completing new quests given by your class trainer or found out in the world. The runes awarded on these quests give powerful abilities and utility to every spec in the game. As an example, there's one rune quest where you find an agent of Dalaran at a camp in Deadwind Pass. They give you a talisman capable of revealing Medivh's dark riders scattered throughout the world. You're tasked with hunting them down to retrieve important artifacts. I didn't do that quest because as of Phase 6 you can just buy every single one of them in each starting zone for 1 copper apiece, allowing you to level up with completely busted abilities as long as you have the armor piece to put them on. This is why I started playing. I'll leave it up to you to decide how you'd like to get them. Other than new rare spawns and class objectives added to each zone, the main thing you want to know about are the new nightmare incursions happening around the world. These offer daily quests that can be performed at specific level ranges for amazing XP while leveling. Be aware that if an incursion quest has gathering in the title, it can only be completed with one of the gathering professions. Before doing these dailies, you'll need room in your inventory and you'll need room in your quest log to accept like 15 quests. It's really annoying and can get in the way of questing normally, but being able to quickly earn an entire level or two every day is worth it in the end. They also reward a currency that can be used to purchase useful PvP armor and potions from nearby Emerald Warden Quartermasters. They also sell a ring that allows you to teleport to a party mate that's inside of an incursion, allowing you to travel across the world with a magic ring. Starting with Duskwood at level 25, just north of the road leading from Stranglethorn Vale in Duskwood. I didn't know about them, but the quests seem to encompass a lot of the zone outside the crater. They look pretty cool. I'd check them out if you're nearby, but the Horde can access these by riding a boat to Grongol and running north out of STV. If you're ever going to STV, there's a new PvP event where you can kill each other for blood and turn that in for coins to buy mounts and stuff. Talk to an emissary at any entrance to the zone to opt out if you don't want to die. It occurs every 3 hours. At level 40, we've got fantastic dailies in Ashenvale. Easy to access, people are doing them. You're going to want to do these dailies. There's a PvP event here, but I couldn't tell you what it is exactly. At level 50, you have Feralas and Hinterlands. The Feralas quest giver is guarded by 60 plus elites, and I can't tell you why. I almost died just filming this for the video. If you do the Feralas ones, spam the portal to become invulnerable long enough to collect like a third of the quests. Rinse and repeat on collection and turn in. Hinterlands, on the other hand, is an amazing questing zone. You can sit in here and just kill hippogriffs solo for great XP. At level 54, we have Blackrock Eruption. Every 2 hours after midnight, Blackrock Mountain erupts. These are your bread and butter dailies. Available at Thorium Points, Searing Gorge, useful even at level 60 as they give reputation with the Hydraxian Waterlords and Thorium Brotherhood. The former is of course useful for Molten Core. This is not a PvP event. The Sleeping Bag, something else I didn't learn about until I was 60. This quest starts in Westfall for Alliance and the Barrens for Horde. At the end of the quest, you earn a sleeping bag you can use to give yourself a rested XP bonus after sleeping in it for 3 minutes. I read a comment that sleeping in it counts as resting at an inn while logging off. So I guess you could just log off and get rested XP in the middle of any quest. Two lower level raids were introduced to the game. First up, we've got Black Fathom Deeps. I didn't know they turned this one into a raid, so I missed it. I didn't even remember it existed until after I finished recording all the footage for the video. It drops level 25 gear. Here's some examples. Secondly, we've got Gnomeregan, but for a minute, I'd like to instead inform you of a new way to teleport to Feralas added to the game. Kill the robot outside of Gnomeregan, start the quest, and a couple stages into that quest, you'll gain access to a very useful teleport from Booty Bay to Feralas. You don't even have to finish the quest. It's amazing. Other than that, you got a revamped Gnomeregan available at level 40, but this time 10-man with new quests, NPCs, and final boss. It's worth checking out. Drops epics, great XP, and a chance at a mount. A very rare mount. Sunken Temple, another new raid. I haven't done it because you couldn't pay me to ever again venture into the Sunken Temple. But I've heard reports that you can level like 3 times before leaving the instance. Level 50 raid, epic ring quest, and a chance to get a gun axe. I might go in there for the gun axe. New level 60 dungeon, Demon Fall Canyon. After a short attunement quest starting in Fellwood, sending you to collect owlbear brains in Winterspring. Gain access to a new level 60 dungeon located in Ashenvale. It drops some pretty good loot, and I think it's fully worth gaining access to. Also, you can teleport nearby with that ring from the scenario on people. One extra bit to inform you on your path to level 60, the Hand of Justice, a best-in-slot melee trinket, has been moved to the final boss of Blackrock Depths. Moving on, some endgame stuff. This is a currency dropped off bosses and dungeons and some raids. Undermine Reals. They can be used to purchase many fantastic rewards from a vendor in Booty Bay. As of right now, you can buy all of Tier 1 at this vendor, 4 pieces of Tier 2. You can get your idols in Librams, and a lot more. They can also be spent at the toys vendor for various fun items that allow you to randomly teleport around the world, or my favorite, this one that lets you turn into a box. The teleportation toy does have a chance of sending you to Booty Bay, and I've used it to save myself a long flight with a 4-hour cooldown. I think it's worth it overall. Make sure your hearth's up if you use it. Since now I'm trapped in old Ironforge, I'll show you my other favorite toy. It turns you into a bush. To turn in those tier tokens you've purchased with Reals, you'll need to become attuned to Molten Core and BWL T1 and T2 respectively. The vendors are just inside the door of each instance. You don't even have to be in a group to go in. For CoreForged armor, essentially tier 2 with a tier 1 set bonus, you'll purchase your gear from BWL and trade it for CoreForged in Molten Core. You can trade it freely back and forth, but you'll lose any enchantments. One thing to note, if you've cleared MC recently, you may have to run all the way to Ragnaros to turn in the tokens. The vendor has moved there, and there's no longer a teleport. Bring a trinket or something to run faster. If you finish the Onyxia raid attunement quest on any character, you'll now be able to purchase a Bind on Account Onyxia Necklace on any of your alts, which is rather nice of them to add. This can be purchased from this guy and maybe this dude. One of my favorite items in the game, the water treads, can be purchased from the Hydraxian Waterlords vendor in Ajara. Walking on water is always useful. They also sell the Beacon of Hydraxis at Revered, making it much easier to visit this vendor in the future, and you'll get the rep from Searing Gorge when it erupts, you know what I'm saying. Don't forget to take your water treads off in dungeons. A huge thing in Classic is world buffs, and there's been a lot of changes from how you get them to when you use them. First up, we've got the Chrono Boon Displacer, purchasable at all reagent vendors. Using this will store any current world buffs obtained naturally from standing around in a major city. You can then use the new supercharged Chrono Boon Displacer item in your inventory to reactivate those world buffs whenever you'd like. While stored in your inventory, they persist through death while waiting to be reactivated. Second up, the Incursions war efforts never ended, so you have the ability to turn in select items for commendations in Ironforge and Orgrimmar. There are many items to turn in, but the simplest is regular runecloth bandages for 10 commendations a stack. 50 commendations will buy you any world buff in the game in consumable form, usable only once on your entire raid group. These can be purchased from Ironforge and Orgrimmar's commendation officers located in the same area. There are 7 to choose from, and people appreciate it if you bring even one. But the Cauldron is probably the worst one of the bunch. In AQ, there's a new set bonus available on any piece labeled as Timeworn. This set bonus can be activated by purchasing a ring from Nosdormu in front of the Caverns of Time. The percentage chance of the set bonus activating is increased by 1 for each time-worn piece of armor equipped. I think that honestly wraps up the video, and when I started this, I didn't think it was going to be this hard, so I've made a Patreon. If you guys want me to do anything more in depth, I accept $1. If not, I'm not going to do this again. Hope you have a good day. Oh, and remember, it all comes down to fishing.